This is now a workshop on meditation, which of course can be also called mindfulness. One of the big misconceptions about meditation is about the thoughts that come up when we meditate, and what does that mean? You know, people try to meditate as if they're trying to switch their mind off and go into a blank state. Clear your mind, blank out your mind, still your mind. I mean, all of that doesn't work, because the more you try to still your mind, the busier it becomes. It's like if I say to you, don't think about a monkey, you'll think about a monkey. And in fact, the more you try and push your thoughts down, the more they bubble up. And you've got to kind of question, why would we think that that is the exercise? What would be the point of just zoning out into a kind of trance? That wouldn't really have much benefit. So it's a different game altogether. It's not about suppression, it's not about silencing the mind. It's about learning to not get so involved in the thoughts and just let them go. Traditionally, they use imagery such as clouds in the sky. The thoughts can just go by like clouds in the sky. A modern image would be traffic. You're standing at the side of a road, lots of cars going by. Do you get in those cars or not? That's the question. Maybe those cars are taxis. Taxi only stops if you put your hand out, and then you get in the taxi and go for a drive. So in my example, these taxis represent our thoughts and our emotions and all the stuff that happens in our mind. And we tend to flag down the taxi and get in it, even though we don't want to. We go for a drive around town. We end up the other side of town not knowing how we got there, and there's a huge bill to pay. And even though we are intelligent, educated, free-thinking people, we're not really free deep down inside, because our moods, our mind states, we don't choose them. We don't choose to be irritated. We don't choose to get annoyed. We certainly don't choose to be depressed or anxious. So there's not much freedom there. The mind is doing stuff we don't want it to do. So it's almost as if we are automatically, unwillingly jumping in all those taxis in our head. So it's about letting it go by, so letting the thoughts go by, not getting so wound up in them, and remaining present. Now, obviously in our daily life, we need thoughts and we need emotions. We need to think about the past, we need to plan the future. But can we do that with more choice, more clarity, more freedom? So in the session itself, we're learning just to let all those thoughts go and not get so wrapped up in them. What that means is that our power of awareness and choice is growing and building through our practice. And so as that grows and builds and we become better at it, we'll find that we are less tormented by our own mind. Now, sometimes we are tormented, but also another thing is we'll find that we get less distracted and we can be more relaxed, more calm, more happy. We can choose more how to feel. This is how we can grow through meditation training. But I really wanted to kind of break it apart for you so you can see what the technique actually does. Now, how do you do that? Because it's very difficult just to sit there and not jump into those thoughts. So we give ourselves something else to focus on. We give our mind a focus. And that's something like the breathing. A very common meditation technique is to focus on your own breathing. Now, you might think that sounds incredibly simple. We will try that in a minute and you'll see how difficult it is. Why is it difficult? It's difficult because we can focus on our breathing for about 3 breaths and then suddenly we're off. You know, the mind starts writing lists, shopping lists. It does major internet shopping in our head. It writes emails, it plans dinner, it plans revenge, it does all kinds of stuff. And the breath is going on all the time. It's not like we stop breathing, but we've lost the connection. So that's the work. It's like going to the gym and lifting weights. You get back on the weightlifting machine, you lift the weights. So the work is, you find yourself writing an email in your head or whatever, and you just come back. So you're watching the breathing. I mean, watching is the wrong word because that sounds visual. You're more sort of, you're aware of the breathing. You're feeling the breathing. Breathing normally. You're not breathing deeply. You're just breathing normally. And you are aware of it. You are focused on it. And then your mind starts doing its stuff. It drifts away. And then you catch yourself. You think, oh, I've drifted. You don't tell yourself off. This is where the compassion and kindness comes in. You don't feel like a failure. You don't feel like you've sort of done it wrong. You just gently come back. You just return. You literally just bounce your attention back to your breath. And then you're there again with the breath. A few more breaths, and then we're off. And then you come back. It's an exercise of constant, ongoing rebalancing, refocusing, coming back, returning. And it's incredibly boring. Don't expect to start having a halo or seeing lights or floating on clouds. It's exercise. But it's incredibly enriching because the more you do this, the more you can start to feel less bothered by your own mind. You can find that you can let go of suffering more easily, or you can put yourself in a positive mental state more easily because you're developing that kind of inner power almost, power of choice. Instead of the mind automatically, unwillingly getting dragged into all those taxis, you're learning which taxi to get into. Because every time in the meditation session, every time your mind wanders and then you bring it back to the breath, every time you do that, you are strengthening your mindfulness. You're learning that skill. It's like lifting weights and your muscles get bigger. So it's a training. It's like going to the gym. I keep using exercise as an analogy because it really is like that. And just like with exercise, you've got to do it regularly. I mean, there's no point deciding to get fit and then just sitting around reading the Keep Fit books. You've got to do the exercise. And also, there's no point going to the gym. Some people do this. They go to the gym and they keep running to the mirror to see if they've got muscles or they've lost weight. Or somebody who's on a diet and they keep jumping on the scales every 10 minutes and then, feeling like a failure that they haven't lost weight. It doesn't work like that. You do the diet or you do the exercise and then slowly over time you notice your body has changed. It's the same with the mind. This is fitness training for the mind. That's what it is. So that requires regularity in terms of doing it every day as much as possible, and it requires patience, just like going to the gym. If you can really hold those two key points in mind, regularity and patience, then you'll find it quite easy. It becomes frustrating if you're constantly looking at your watch thinking, when is this going to work? So I would recommend starting with a 10-minute exercise every day. 10 minutes is nothing. People always say, I don't have time for meditation. Everyone has 10 minutes. Even somebody with a really busy life. I've got a really busy life and I meditate every day. There's no question about it for me. It's as important as eating or drinking. So it's quite easy to do 10 minutes a day. I do more than 10 minutes, but if you're starting out, 10 minutes, that is no sacrifice. And when you start doing it every day, you start noticing the benefits, and then you might do 15 minutes, you might do 20 minutes. You might only do 15 minutes for the rest of your life, and you will get a lot out of it. So what do you do during those 10 minutes? You would sit in a quiet place. It's got to be relatively quiet. You'll never find a place that's totally quiet. I did a 4-year retreat on the Isle of Arran, and there were no phones, no internet, no interaction with the outside world. But there were sheep bleating in the field outside my window and birds, and I thought, I can't get quiet. So wherever you go, there's always a bit of noise, but you can find a relatively quiet place, and you would sit. You can sit in a chair. I mean, the real traditional meditation thing is to sit cross-legged on the floor. Not many people do that, really. A lot of people tend to learn sitting on a chair, and you just need to be in a quiet place, quiet-ish place. Morning is probably the best time. When the body wakes up, it produces a big spike of spike in cortisol to deal with the change of state. So you want to bring that down. So if you meditate first thing in the morning, you're bringing your cortisol down. So it's a good time for training. It means you don't start your day stressfully. Most people start their day with stress. Think about it. If you wake up with an alarm clock, you're being shocked awake. Then we just jump into our day. So why not take those 10 minutes just to bring it all down? Just relax, just be calm, be present, and let your day start from that launch pad. Some people find it very hard to meditate in the morning. That doesn't mean you're a failure, just do it in the evening. It really is, very flexible. But if you want to know what's the best time, I think morning is best. What do you do in the session? You sit in a chair. You don't want to sit in a big, armchair where you sink into the chair. You'll fall asleep. You want to sit in the chair where you're having to be quite upright. So you actually don't want to be leaning back. You want to be sitting upright. Now, if you do that, you often get lower back pain because you're having to kind of hold your body upright. So the way to remedy that is to get a small cushion and place that behind your lower back so that it's wedged between the base of your spine and the back of the chair. And that gives you that little sort of lower back support, and then the rest of your back can be nice and upright. Your feet are flat on the floor, planted parallel on the floor. Your hands are palms down on your knees or the tops of your legs. So you're very, balanced in your body. You're very symmetrical to the best of your ability. If you have some kind of physical issue that means you can't exactly sit like that, that doesn't mean you're disqualified. It's within your own capacity to be as disciplined as possible in your posture. The session involves 3 or 4 steps. Step 1 is to actually think about why you're doing it. It's no good just to launch into meditation. It becomes very random. You've got to have a few moments of positive thinking. Maybe positive thinking is not the right word. It's a bit of a kind of weak term. What I mean is you want to motivate yourself with a very positive intention. You want to kind of lay the ground of pure motivation to really put that in place as you start your session. The way to do that is to spend a few seconds just making a decision. I am going to meditate for my own benefit, but also as a gift to the world. It's not just for me, it's for everyone. Because as my stress reduces, as my clarity increases, my compassion will increase, my relationships will improve. I can produce some kind of peace in this world. So having that intention of compassion towards yourself and compassion towards others is a really good way to start the session. You've created the right motive for your practice. So that means spending a few seconds just creating that decision. I'm doing this for me, I'm doing this for others. It's literally just an idea you create in your head. That's the first step, just takes a few seconds. The second step, before you go to the breathing, is to be aware of your body. What that means is just focus on your body and feel how you are sitting and where you're sitting. The easiest way to do this is to feel the connection between your body and your chair. You can feel where your body is in contact with the seat, with the back of the chair, where your feet are in contact with the floor. Those points of contact are very easy to focus on. This body awareness just puts you into that present moment, gets you ready for the breathing. The third step is the breathing. Well, it's not like you start breathing. We are breathing 24/7, but you start being aware of your breathing, which means you don't change your breathing. You don't have to start panting like a dog or anything like that. You just breathe normally, just lightly, just however you normally breathe, but you start focusing on it. You locate it, you feel it. Where do you feel it? Maybe you feel it in your chest, maybe you feel it in your belly, maybe you feel it kind of rising and falling. Where do you feel it? Just kind of hunt it down, find it, and then focus on it. And then you can get more specific. You can start feeling where it comes in and out of your nose. If you can breathe through your nose, it's ideal. If you've got sinus problems, of course, breathe through your mouth. But if you have a choice, breathe through your nose and start focusing on the sensation of air flowing up and down the inside of your nostrils. Don't breathe heavily in order to feel something. because that's too easy. It's like not lifting weights properly or giving yourself too much help. You want to breathe lightly so that you have to put more focus to feel it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people want to do something that's deep breathing because it's really easy to feel it then, but that's not training. You want to just breathe normally so that you have to put just that more attention to find it, to feel it. So you're feeling the air coming in and out of the end of your nose. You're literally feeling that sensation of air brushing against skin at the end of your nostrils. If your nose is blocked, of course, breathe through your mouth, and then you feel, instead, you focus on the air traveling across your lower lip. So either way, you've got one point of focus. That's where you try and hold your attention, and that's where you find it really difficult, because within seconds, the mind starts wandering, but then you learn how to keep bouncing your attention back to that place. That's your focus. The mind drifts, you bring it back. Mind drifts maybe for 5 minutes before you even realize it's drifted. It's okay, you bring it back. You get better at it as time goes on. When you're ready to end your session, you go to the concluding stage. Now, how do you know when you're going to end your session? Well, the best thing is to time it. It's no good just sitting down and meditating to see how it goes, because on some days you'll do 1 minute, on some days you'll do 1 hour. It becomes really random and very messy. You want to actually give that kind of sense of discipline to yourself by saying, I will do 10 minutes, no matter what. If the house is burning down, of course, I'll get up and run, but otherwise, I will do 10 minutes. I will turn my phone off. I will not 5 minutes into the session think, I wonder what's on TV. I'll do the 10 minutes. So that kind of discipline is really helpful, which means you time it. So you have a clock next to you, not in front of you, because you'll look at it all the time, just to one side. Some people set an alarm, but make sure it's a gentle alarm, not some shocking kind of drill. You can program your phone to give a nice kind of chime sound, like a bell or something. But anyway, the main thing is you time your session, and when your 10 minutes are up, you go to the concluding practice, which is to take the focus more generally into your body again, like you did at the beginning. Feel the ground under your feet, be aware of your shoulders, be aware of your body, all of that. And the last step is to again remind yourself of your motivation or intention, which is the compassion. To remind yourself, I've done this, or I'm doing this for my own benefit, but also for the benefit of others. Through that kind of compassionate intention, you have a much deeper journey you're on. Otherwise, meditation is just about feeling a bit more relaxed. There's other ways to do that. Meditation's deeper than just relaxation. It's about actually finding out who you are and living your full potential for yourself and others. So you want to have that moment at the end of thinking why you're doing this. If you're new to meditation, or if you're doing it not every day but occasionally, you get drowsy. The reason for that is because when you sit still and do nothing, the body's not used to that. The body's used to being busy all the time. So you're sitting still doing nothing, the body associates that with sleep, so it goes into a kind of shutdown mode. It's like when you leave a laptop alone, it goes into sleep mode. So the body doesn't know this new behavior, it just knows busy or sleeping. Those are the two states our body knows. You're teaching your body a new state, which is you're still, but you're aware. It takes a while for the body to learn that. So most people go through a drowsy period when they learn meditation, and then they start waking up. So that's really the technique. There are many others, but that's the main meditation practice, which you will find in Buddhism, but also in the world of mindfulness, where it's a secular, non-religious approach. It's all the same. It's all about breathing. That's the main technique. Everywhere you'll go, you'll find that one is the one everyone learns. And then there are other ones as well, using visual objects, using sound, using visualizations. I mean, there's a lot there, but this is the basic technique which it's good to start with and also carry on with for a long time. And just to learn not to get upset with yourself when your mind wanders a lot. Because sometimes you'll have a session where your mind is just crazy. The whole time the mind is just whizzing round. It's okay. You occasionally manage to focus back on the breath, and that will get stronger and stronger as time goes on. Now that's one thing. To meditate every day for 10 minutes is a really brilliant thing because you're learning how to develop that different relationship with your thoughts and emotions. But the other thing that's crucial is to then bring that practice into your daily life. A lot of people forget this and they kind of do meditation in the morning and then they go to work and they're totally unconnected to it throughout the day. But you want to have those moments of connection throughout the day. Like I mentioned this morning, where you're just standing in a queue or sitting in your car or traveling or behind your desk. 4 seconds of just being aware of your shoulders, being aware of the ground under your feet, being aware of your body, relaxing your body, being present with your body. Using the body is the easiest way of doing this. These tiny moments are crucial. Maybe you're washing your hands. You're standing at a sink washing your hands. Maybe you're brushing your teeth. Normally we do these things distractedly. The mind is somewhere else. All you need to do is focus on the sensation of the toothbrush moving and brushing against your teeth, or your hands moving and the water and the soap and all of that. You're not thinking about it, you're just being. You're there with that being experience rather than going into a whole mental commentary. You will go into a mental commentary, but then you step out of that, step into the being again. The mind gets lost in commentary, step back into the being. If you can do this many times a day, it becomes your friend. You're always connecting with that mindful, micro moments of mindfulness throughout the day. Doesn't matter how busy you are, you can do this anywhere. You can be in an open plan office with loads of noise. You just feel the ground under your feet, feel the chair under you. These moments of mindfulness throughout the day, when you're walking, when you're eating, when you're traveling. This is how it starts to work, because you're training every day and you're on your own, doing those 10 minutes alone, and then you're also bringing it into daily life. Start to find you're just more relaxed. I work with a lot of teams in their offices, and after teaching them, I go back after 3 months or 2 months, and they say things like, we just react less, we're getting along with each other less, or we're less wound up by stuff. The results creep up on you in a way you didn't expect, maybe. You just find that you're more relaxed, you're more happy. I feel in myself, I'm more chilled than I used to be. I used to be a very anxious person. I used to be very tense and kind of jumpy, and now I'm just more chilled out. So I can feel it in my body and in my mind. It just creeps up on you like that. Ideal is if you're having a crazy time and things are going wrong, and you can put yourself in a mindful state. That's quite hard because we're in such a high stakes situation. The mind just kind of freaks out. But if you train every day, then it means when you're in those stressful moments, you're more prepared for them. So you're less likely to get so wound up, or you will get wound up, but you can come back to your state of balance more quickly. So I always say, don't keep this up your sleeve for emergencies. Practice it every day so that you're ready for the emergencies. Do I ever flip out? Absolutely. But it doesn't last as long as it used to. I don't get a chainsaw out, but I get upset, I get stressed, I get annoyed. That's normal. But I find that it doesn't last as long as it used to, and I find I'm generally a happier person than I used to be. We all know the big thing with driving is when we're in a traffic jam, or when somebody does something on the road that we don't like, or when we're stuck at the red light, we go into cortisol. The body starts stressing. Use those moments to de-stress. When you're stuck in traffic or sitting at the red light, do some mindfulness. Don't close your eyes, because you are actually aware of the present moment. So when the lights change, you're ready to move. But it means you've actually reprogrammed your stress response. Because normally we get stressed out in traffic. It doesn't make the traffic move. It's a pointless reaction. But we can reprogram that.